I got money, I wasn't in the track kicking doors, and I'm just being honest. If you want smoke, then we cook niggas up like an omelet, I'm just being honest. Throw me a 60 if I go to Magic or Honest, I'm just being honest. I keep a stick or a blicky in case it gets sticky, I'm just being honest. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor.
I pick up a stick, aim at the heart. Pick up a blitz, pick them apart. I feel like a pit, but all bite, no bark. Quit the remarks. Little bitty bullet, they glow in the dark. Unlimited pool when attacking the target. I'm tagging the toe, I done tatted somebody. I'm breathing fire, burning, dragging somebody. If he ain't the homie, they promise a homie. Just hand me the hammer and get right beside me. I hop in a ride inside us a Hemi. The coppers behind me, the timing is shitty. Fuck. Why niggas shooting at Ricky? No running back and forth. He clapping the 50. He cracking the 40. I'm back in the city. I'm headed to war. Only warriors with me. Lord forgive me through whatever endeavors. It's JID, baby. I'm just a few letters. Take a look. I'm about to break a record. Put me in the books. I'm bound to beat the level. All about the effort. I'm putting in leg work. Early in the morning, count money till my head hurt. Niggas being funny. We could put them in a red shirt. 5 in your chest like an Ant-Man Edwards. Live in the wreck. Live in the flesh. I manifest. $0 I could collect. I could look in the face of a threat, but never sweat. You sweet. Get out the streets when niggas doing a sweep. Swap rides. I'm bringing the Swiss. So Swiss seats. Mob Tazi coming with Keezy. Swiss beats. Cops firing and niggas is ratting and eating cheese. Another day on the east. Make them fall to their knees.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor.
Yo, what's going on YouTube? Wildline Games here. Hope y'all enjoyed the Backbreaker NFL 26 trailer. Roster is available now to download. You can find the link in the description of this video. You can also find it in the Discord if you're in there. And the Discord is where I will be posting roster updates. So the rest of this video, I'm going to show you how I did the Backbreaker rosters and the ratings, and then I'm also going to do a quick tutorial on how to download this for the Xbox 360. And if you want PS3 rosters, this will not work on the PlayStation 3, but Backbreaker plays NFL on YouTube. I know he makes his own PS3 roster. I don't know if he shares them, but he makes a ton of Backbreaker content, as you can see. A lot of good stuff here, and it's for the PS3. So I bet if you comment on one of his videos, or if you want to stay up to date on PS3 stuff, go check him out. I don't know him personally. I just know that he posts a lot of Backbreaker stuff. So I figured that this would help the PS3 audience try and play the game. And then if you're trying to use my rosters on the Xenia emulator for the Xbox 360, I haven't tested that out. I know it doesn't work. I'm trying to figure out a way to make it work. So if you're going to play with an emulator, you can also use these NFL teams. But for right now, this only works on the Xbox 360. So with that being said, okay, so this is how I did the ratings. When you play Backbreaker, especially post-patch, the gap between like player speed and strength and agility, basically the gap of player attributes, really shrunk down compared to when you play the game pre-patch. I'm not sure entirely why, but there's a noticeable difference in gameplay feel between like the post-patch and pre-patch Backbreaker. And in an effort to try and, I guess, widen that gap, especially for, you know, like special team scenarios, since linemen are used in the game and you have linemen chasing down, you know, return men, and it's impossible to get a return. I kind of created this gap in skill for a lot of the positions. So as you can see, when we look at like the speed column here, the QB, like any of the skill positions, their speed goes from, you know, 80 to 90, and then the big skill, your tight ends, your linebackers, 60 to 70, and then your linemen and your defensive ends, 30 to 50. Defensive ends being 40 to 60 because typically they're, you know, a little bit faster, a little bit more agile than interior D linemen. And a lot of the teams now in the modern day, you know, we use edge rushers. It's not really like a dedicated defensive end or a dedicated outside linebacker anymore, but Backbreaker doesn't have that. And with some of the roster structure, I gotta have, you know, edge rushers, essentially your linebackers, playing as defensive ends to get everybody on the field. But anyways, the point is I was trying to create a little bit more disparity, and that's why you don't see receivers from like 80 to 90 and tight ends from, you know, 70 to 80. I wanted there to be a gap between the skill and big skill and the lineman. And the other thing I've noticed, I believe Backbreaker puts a larger emphasis on like the player tier level, like the gold, silver, and bronze stars, more so than the attributes. And so what I tried to do was basically eliminate a lot of the gold players in the game and really save that gold tier star for the truly special players, like your Patrick Mahomes, your Jamar Chases, your Derrick Henrys, your Micah Parsons, like those guys. So I ignored my little stat restrictions. So you can have a gold tier defensive end, like Micah Parsons, and instead of being capped at 60 speed for the fastest, he can have like 84 speed. And the reason why I did it this way is to make those gold players like feel truly special and like much higher caliber than everybody else on the field. And it's true, I had a huge struggle running the ball to Micah Parsons' side and to Calais Campbell's side. Even as Derrick Henry, I had trouble running the ball because they were just such good players. They would dominate my offensive line. And so if we go ahead and open up, got a lot of things in here, sorry about that. But if we go ahead and open up this Backbreaker roster, if you bear with me here, I'll show you what I'm talking about before we jump into the tutorial. And this screen will look familiar to you. Let's go ahead and open up the most recent roster here. So you see the Bengals have 4 gold players. One of them is Joe Burrow, but that's a bad example because I'm not really, for quarterbacks, they're ignoring a lot of those strength statistics anyway. But let's maybe look at all the kick returners are gold, but let's look at Jamar Chase, right? 95 focus, 85 agility, 92 speed, 70 strength. And then when we pull this up, he's over the speed threshold I wanted to make. And the reason why I capped the agility and speed at 90 for like the rest of the like bronze and silver players is so that when you do have a gold receiver or a gold DB or safety who's going to be above 90 in those categories, it feels faster than the other guys. You don't want a bronze DB, at 95 speed. Yes, it might make sense realistically, but Backbreaker ratings just don't really work that way from what I can tell. They don't work in the traditional sense that we're all used to with Madden and, 2K and all that stuff. So I was trying to get creative to make the roster, one, a little bit more balanced across the board so it doesn't favor defense so much, but then also make the star players like really fun to play with. So I did my best to try and follow these rules, and then the gold players essentially are allowed to exist outside of those rules. Alright, so for the tutorial, the first thing you're going to want to do is grab a USB stick and insert it into the front of your Xbox 360. And then once you do that, you're going to go over to Settings. Settings, you want to click on System, go down to Storage. And once you're in storage, you want to go to your hard drive, Games and Apps, and you're going to find Backbreaker. There it is. You're going to go to Custom Teams under the profile you play on. So I'm T-Mac, hit Custom Teams. You're going to copy that over to your USB storage device. I already have something in there, but for the purposes of the tutorial, I'll go ahead and show you how this works, because right now the game freezes when you play as the Browns because I had a mistake in the roster file in the text file. So once you have copied that over, just go ahead and back out to the main menu, and then you're going to go to your 360 and pull out the USB stick and plug it into your computer. Alright, so my USB drive popped up here. As you can see, I have some, it's going to show up in this folder, and I don't remember which one of these, but you're going to find your BB Cust thing in here in one of these folders. I just can't, there it is. Alright, so there you go. It's not really, I don't know what time it thinks it is, but yeah, so that's like basically your file. But the more important thing at this step, you're going to want to go ahead and download the program called Horizon. So let me exit out of that, minimize that. I don't see, maybe I don't have a desktop shortcut, but I do have it installed. This is what the logo looks like. So find a safe website to download this program from and open it up. So you have it opened. Let me blow this up so you guys can see it. We're going to go to Games, Backbreaker, and hit these little, drop down arrows. and then you're going to see your custom teams right here. And this step is really important. You want to double click this and see this profile ID and device ID. You're going to want to copy both of these because this profile ID and device ID is actually custom to your console and custom to your profile. There's no other IDs out there like it. So if you don't copy these and save them somewhere, it's not going to work. So for me, I have this folder called Backbreaker Rosters, and I have this ID text file, and I just copy and paste my IDs in here, right? So that way, yeah, and you'll see why you need to do it here in a second. But that's where I do mine. You can save it however you like. So after you've copied your, you double click, and after you've copied your profile ID and device ID, we're going to exit out. And then I want you to right click your custom teams and extract file. And you're doing this as like a backup because I want you to save it. So, what if you have your own custom teams? You don't want to lose them. So typically I would just do, like for this one, this was the roster I did on August 13th. So we're going to do like version 0. And I'm going to save that file in there. So now I've got my previous old custom team saved somewhere, which means we can now right click and delete. So do not delete your teams before you've like copied and exported your own created team save file, so you don't lose those forever. So please do that. And then once you've done that, we're going to hit this button here, inject new file. And we're going to go to the roster I just created earlier tonight. I was fixing the skin tone of Travis Hunter as well as the Browns errors so the game doesn't freeze when you play as the Browns. And boom, we've injected the new file. You can see custom teams is here, but as you'll notice, your profile ID and device ID aren't going to match up. So you're going to double click that, delete, double click that, delete. Oh, what do? Remember how we copy and pasted our profile and device IDs? Now, obviously, mine are not going to look any different, but, again, for the tutorial, we're just going to copy that profile ID, copy the device ID, save, rehash, and resign. I don't know. I'm weird. I just do it a few times just to make myself feel better, to know that it works. And that's it. You just exit out of Horizon. You've done everything you need to do. And we can go ahead and eject the cruiser dial, my USB. And now let's go over to the Xbox. Now this next step is actually important before we copy over the roster file, because if you were to assume that you would just go storage into your USB device and copy and paste the roster file to the hard drive, you would be correct, but we want to do one more thing first. On hard drive, we want to hit device options, which is Y, and we want to clear system cache. This is actually going to erase the patch in Backbreaker and restore Backbreaker to its pre-patch form. And the reason we want to do this before we copy the roster file over and start up Backbreaker is it actually does a more accurate job of maintaining the player attributes that way, instead of doing the custom rosters with the patch already installed. So we go into our USB drive, we're going to copy our custom teams over to the hard drive, hit yes, boom, boom, boom. And we're going to back all the way out to the main menu. This part's a little slow. It's a little annoying, but we have to do it. So you're going to launch Backbreaker. And again, this final step, I'm not sure if it's necessary, but I do it just to be sure. I do not do when the pop-up asks you to install the update. I hit cancel and launch the game anyway. And you'll know if you did it right because it's just going to say Backbreaker right there. And the only reason I do this, I just try and load the game. And now that we've copied over the USB, like the roster file from the USB to the hard drive, we don't need the USB anymore, so you can unplug it. But I don't know, I just like to launch the game with the rosters first. And also you'll be able to go in here and view all the rosters. We got the Commander's new logo in here. and you'll be able to go in and view it without like screwing up the player ratings and stuff like that. We're going to exit back out to the main menu, and then we're just going to launch Backbreaker again, but this time we're going to hit yes when it wants us to, install the update. Now, if you just want to play as, the pre-patch version, then, then by all means play as the pre-patch version, but if you want to do the post-patch, it's the way you would do it. And that took forever to load. And then we're just going to play Backbreaker again. And the window should pop up here. It's taking a little long, but we're just going to hit download now. Now the Xbox is going to download the Great House number 3 patch for Backbreaker. And again, you'll know if you did it right when you get to the menu after this Euphoria screen, and it should say Backbreaker and then Great House number 3. There you go. You got the patch installed, and now the real test is we're gonna load up the Browns again, and if the game, if we can get through kickoff without the game freezing, then we're good to go. And that's another thing to note. If you do launch the game and the game, you get through, you go through the intro, you do the coin toss, and it freezes around kickoff, please let me know, because that means I've screwed something up. Please let me know, and let me know what 2 teams you are playing with, because that means I screwed something up. Because the game obviously shouldn't freeze, but the 2 times I've had freezing... Are the Cowboys? Oh, there they are. It's blind. The 2 times the game is frozen on me. The 2 times the game is frozen on me has been from having inconsistencies with the roster file, whether that was I had too many right guards listed in there, or I had 2 second string quarterbacks, which was the case with this Browns file. I had 2 second string quarterbacks, and basically the game will launch, but then when it comes time to play at kickoff, it'll freeze. So again, if something pops up where you're playing the game, it freezes, let me know what the teams are, and I will go through and fix that for you. But we're able to pick a play at kickoff, which means I think we're good to go. Hey, that was a pretty nice kickoff too. And yeah, Shedeur Sanders should be our starting quarterback, just because, that's more fun. And yep, DeAndre Carter's our kick returner, and boom, there you go. So now you have successfully installed the NFL 26 Backbreaker rosters to your Xbox 360 console. If you need help, leave a comment. I'll do my best to answer as quickly as possible. Hope you enjoyed the highlights. Hope you enjoyed my reasoning behind the making the roster ratings the way I did. And I hope the tutorial was helpful. And until next time, peace.